Hi everyone, this is Mike and welcome back to Countdown Garage. This episode is episode 5 of the bus series. In the last few episodes we did some work on the rear bumper and hitch. In this episode we're going to install both a new fuel sender, and to make the job easier in the future we're going to install an access hatch above the fuel tank. There's a little bit of controversy about cutting into a vintage Volkswagen bus, but the access hatch it'll be a huge time saver the next time it needs replaced, and is even a job that the dealerships back in the day would do. So let's first dive in by removing the firewall, and I need to lower the engine just a little bit. Alright, first task is to remove the firewall, and looking at the engine bay of my bus you'll see that in my 1972 I do not have a top hatch. So I'll be doing all my work from the engine hatch as usual. So I'll be removing the fresh air fan, intake components, and decel valve to get to the firewall. Then I can locate and mark where I want to cut that upper cargo area for the access hatch. So I'm going to do this to clear any fumes from the tank area because it's an almost empty tank and it's full of fumes, so it could be dangerous when I go to cut. This gives us a pretty good look at what we need to do. Pull off those screws, and I believe, if I remember right, there's two coming from underneath I've got to get, and then that firewall should probably come off of there. Alright, before I drop this last one out, I'm going to get a jack underneath so we can lower it down slowly. There we go. Alright, there we go. Alright, there she comes. Let's get her out of there. You can kind of see right there. There's the area above the tank. Let me get this out of here. Okay, keep going here. I'm gonna get some fresh air blown in here and kind of evacuate any fumes that could be there. Throw maybe a wet towel or something up there, and we'll get to cutting. Alright, so here's the plan. We're going to measure first because we only get one cut. So we're going to measure this. I decided to go, as you can see, kind of right here. I run this along the rib where we're at. I don't know if I can get a really good shot at that, but you can see where I decided to go with it. As far as being, I'm going to go pretty much right on center with the latch mechanism. So you can see essentially there's these two ribs that run along kind of just right up to the latch, those run up pretty much right in the center of the hatch. And I'm going to line that up right here. This, now thanks to a lot of guys on the Samba, out on the Facebook group, in the internet, air-cooled. I got a few guys with really good information on how far to go over. So a lot of guys are saying, 800 millimeters, which converts to, I don't know. I have to do the math, but essentially what I'm looking at is one guy did his right in the middle, and really when you look at of course when you look at the machining, the only way that you can install this is essentially between the ribs, or well, within the ribs, I guess. So it's either off to the left, off to the right, or pretty much in the middle. I'm shooting for the middle, so I'm going to trace this out. What I'm doing is going, like I showed you, center, and then from as far back as I need to go, I'm going to cut about 1.75 inches, right? You can see there's an inch roughly from the back. I'm going to go about 1.75 inches, so I will be cutting straight flush here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this out, outside and inside, and then I will trace between the bolt holes for my cut. And it did come with a template. I'll use the template as well to help me cut that. I'll show you guys that in a minute, but let me go ahead and trace this out. Let's get it set up to be cut. I think I like this positioning right here. So we're going to use this oscillating saw and this metal blade to cut. So that will, in theory, give us the least amount of sparks and the best edge that we can get that's square. That's actually pretty good. I probably could have come just to the right a little bit, You can see how it lines up there. Let me get these out there. You can see how that lines up there with the tank hole. I probably could have, honestly, come to the right just one notch, but I'm perfectly happy with it being in the center. It's symmetrical, but that'll work. I'll be able to get my new sender in there just fine. Alright, let's go ahead and get this guy bolted in. Let's see. Alright, so it's been a couple days. I had a few things going on, so took a little bit of time off, but wanted to get back to this real quick and show you guys. So you can see on the fuel access hole that just a little bit off center there, just a little bit to the, I guess what would be passenger side. But as you can see, I was able to swap out that fuel sender just fine. Not a problem at all to swap it out. Snaked right down in there. So brand new fuel sender in there. Good to go, hooked up, tested, validated, calibrated it the best I could, and it's good to go. But basically, just wanted to go ahead and screw this back on and the cover and get it all sealed up. Alright, well that's pretty much it. We're tightened up and you can see it's pretty snug. I did consider getting some gasket material and putting it in there, but I don't know if I'm going to do that just yet. Well, that's pretty much it for the install. I have to get the firewall back in and the engine mounts back in place, and I'll do that off camera. I want to thank the Samba/eBay gentleman for creating such a nice part that solved my issue with cutting an access hatch in my Volkswagen bus. Thank you all for watching. I hope you liked the content in this episode. If you did, please hit that like button and give it a share. If you're not a subscriber, please consider. And again, I'd love to hear questions or comments down below. Don't forget to follow Countdown Garage on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and we'll see you guys next time.